breakfast. Simple. Rudy invents this stuff. Yeah, not simple. We'll stick to the simple stuff. Shredded wheat. It simply does it.
Amazon Prime Day is from the 8th to the 11th of July. 4 days of big deals on electronics, home, kitchen and more. That'll make you feel like a big deal. Amazon Prime Day is from the 8th to the 11th of July. Exclusively for Prime members. Join Prime now.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. The next 30 minutes, we get you all the big stories that matter to you with a deep dive on those that have a long-term impact. But first up, as always, with headlines. The Dalai Lama reveals his succession plan as China watches. His Holiness confirms he will have a successor after his death. The Quad grouping confirms Pahalgam attack and condemns the terror attack without naming Pakistan, a huge push and boost for India's diplomacy. Prime Minister Modi embarks on the first leg of his 5-nation tour. First stop will be Ghana. This will be Prime Minister Modi's longest foreign trip in 10 years. One of America's largest Hindu temples, ISKCON Temple in Utah, has been attacked in a suspected hate crime. Multiple shots fired at the temple in Utah while guests and devotees were inside. Iran has suspended cooperation with UN nuclear watchdog. Iranian president gives his final approval to end the cooperation with IAEA. This comes just days after suspense remains. Confusion continues as far as whether or not the American strikes were able to obliterate the 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Viewers, our top story on India Global. It's official. His Holiness Dalai Lama is not going anywhere. It's a bombshell of a statement that comes just days ahead of his 90th birthday. The spiritual leader of Tibet and Tibetans world over has declared that the 600-year-old institution will continue after his death. Moreover, he has made one thing absolutely clear, which is that Beijing has no say whatsoever in this entire institution and the process. In fact, after years of silence, His Holiness has ended the guessing game, citing overwhelming appeals from Tibetans, both in exile and inside the Tibet that has been under Chinese control. He affirmed the Garden Phodrang Trust, not the Chinese government, that will have exclusive authority to recognize his reincarnation. Now, that's a clear, direct hit as far as China is concerned. Beijing insists that it alone can name the next Dalai Lama. That isn't the case. Now, Dalai Lama is the spiritual fountainhead of the Tibetan Buddhist sect the world over, which is why continuation of this tradition is so important for the people. Even as China has long said that it wants to appoint the next Dalai Lama. Now, this move by His Holiness is going to have a very strong impact in terms of ensuring that the tradition stays solely under the control of the Tibetans. But Dalai Lama isn't backing down. He says his successor will be born outside of China, slamming the door on Beijing's plans. Support for the decision spans continents, from the Himalayas to Mongolia, Russia, and even within Tibet itself. That's despite China's brutal crackdown on the Tibetan culture and religion that has continued since 1959. So while Beijing claims control, the Dalai Lama just drew a spiritual red line, and it's the line the dragon cannot cross. Let's quickly now first play out this soundbite of His Holiness. We, of course, then go ahead with the big questions, as always.
방송지 당시 그배 세자 제도 고지 조슈리고 점네 제 신주다 뭐다 제긴들주지 공장 뭐랑 제긴들주지 공장 섬도 선거 추규 라전카다 배미서 배미선 제유탄대 망조로 고들지 겨우군지 균투 규미 결시 타수 최서인 시사와더 벌거 니네 탄대 망조로 믹세 고들 저규 머수로 대베 롱을 주시인 추규하게 우치 라제나보다 배미 지수기 특수당 믹세 소재 전중다雄진 멤버 소박하 히말라야 리기 전부 홀다 루스 공기 남배 유근
The big questions on India Global today. First up, how soon will the trust clarify as far as Dalai Lama's succession plan is concerned? When can we have the next search being started and the date by when the next Dalai Lama could be announced? Second question, will China now announce its own successor? They've done so in the past as well. The earlier Dalai Lama, remember, he was nowhere to be found for the last 3 decades, and then there was these Panchen Lamas appointed by China as well. Will that entire circus go again once again? Well, we'll ask that as well. Second, the other question is, will this strengthen the Tibetan diaspora? To a large extent, the cause of Tibet is being supported by the Tibetan diaspora world over, including those that exist in India to a large extent. Will they get a fresh lease of life with the announcement of the next Dalai Lama? And lastly, what about the India-China relationship in the midst of this? Let's get in Brahma Chilani for more on this. Mr. Chilani, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast. We put out the 4 big questions that I feel are very integral to understand this. Your take on, first and foremost, how do you see the announcement and the message that His Holiness is sending to China?
The Dalai Lama actually had published a book earlier this year in March. The title was Voice for the Voiceless. In that book, he said very categorically that the next Dalai Lama will be born in the free world. In other words, the Dalai Lama will not be born in Tibet. He is explicitly excluded Tibet. And I think that was a very clear and categorical statement from the Dalai Lama. But more importantly, he had said previously that when he turns 90, around that time, he would clarify the rules of succession. Those rules are critical because there has been ambiguity from past statements of the Dalai Lama as to what the next Dalai Lama, where he should be found. But that issue has been clarified now. But he has also added confusion in terms of, for example, once he said that the next Dalai Lama could even be a woman. He once said that maybe the Dalai Lama institution could die with him.
Yes.
But again, that part at least he's now clarified that this institution will continue. This is a 600-year-old institution. So some aspects have been clarified, but the actual rules as to how the successor is to be found,
yes,
those rules have to be clearly and unambiguously stated by the Dalai Lama.
Indeed, that has to be delineated very clearly, and possibly in due course of time we'll get details on that. Let me then ask you about the China factor. To a large extent, the Tibetan cause inside China has pretty much been stamped out by the brutal crushing of the Tibetan uprising in the last 70-odd years. But it's the legitimacy of Chinese sovereign control that the CCP really seeks. How do you see China's next actions with this announcement coming in?
China sees a compliant, state-appointed Dalai Lama as the final prize in subjugating Tibet. So it has a plan already for the day after Dalai Lama's passing away, and that plan is to install a pretender, as the new Dalai Lama. For Tibetans, this succession issue is an existential issue. After all, Tibet is under increasing repressive rule. More than 1 million Tibetan children have been forcibly taken away from their parents and placed into Mandarin language boarding schools. The whole idea is to wipe out Tibet's culture and identity.
Yes.
And in that larger plan, controlling the Dalai Lama institution, as I said, is the final prize that China is seeking to not only complete its subjugation of Tibet, but also to complete its control of Tibetan Buddhism.
Right. Final question then, Mr. Chilani, which is around the fact that how do you see the India-China relationship in the backdrop of this? Because India does host the Tibetan government in exile. It hosts a very large number of Tibetans. How do you see the India-China relationship in the context of this?
First, China's determination to appoint the next Dalai Lama would be the equivalent of the Italian government appointing a new pope. It is as crazy as that idea. And yet, China is clearly determined to appoint the next Dalai Lama the way it has sought to capture the Panchen Lama institution by first abducting the real Panchen Lama and then installing a fake Panchen Lama. The problem is this, that within Tibet, the fake Panchen Lama, nobody recognizes him, he gets no respect, he's just a state appointee. To frustrate
Lani, as we speak, there's a statement that's coming from China where they've actually rejected what His Holiness has just put out, and the Chinese government has said that this next successor should be approved by the central government. Let's get those breaking flashes on our screens. Disha, let's get those flashes right there. Which is that Dalai Lama's successor must be approved by the central government is what the official word has come in from China. So you see that this is a face-off that is going to escalate because China is not going to cede control so easily. In next coming days and months and years, you will see this escalating. Brahmachalani.
Well, to say that China will not cede control would suggest...
Cricket updates brought to you by Remitly. Send money home safely with Remitly.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing.
Role in religious matters. The US government and the US Congress both have affirmed this. In fact, there is a law, an American law, which threatens to impose sanctions on Tibetan officials that interfere with the succession issue. As far as India-China relations are concerned, we should not forget that India houses the vast majority of Tibetan exiles, and more importantly, India plays a central role in keeping the Tibetan language and culture alive, because while China is seeking to stamp out Tibetan culture and identity, it is the Indian government, the Indian taxpayers who fund Tibetan language schools and monastic institutions. They see, and Indian support is what keeps alive the unique Tibetan culture and identity. And India plays a very important role, and I hope that on the succession issue, India has a plan, to counter China's plan, because we should not be reactive. We should be proactive, and we should know that the succession issue is critical for India's own security.
It is a very critical issue and affects India as well. And we're going to keep coming back to this story. Brahmachalani, really appreciate you joining us live on this story that we're breaking right here on India Global. All right, viewers, as we keep a very close watch on what's unfolding as far as the issue related Dalai Lama is concerned, there's another important update. That's the latest as far as the stunning diplomatic victory that India has been able to achieve as far as the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting is concerned. Even as Pakistan takes the chair of the UN Security Council this July. The world's most powerful democracies have just sent the message to Islamabad loud and clear, which is enough is enough. At the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting in Washington, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar did not mince his words. Without naming Pakistan, he tore into the world's selective indifference to terrorism. Days after the Pahalgam attack killed 26 Indians, many of them, in fact 25 of them, were tourists. The message was clearer than daylight. India will defend its people, full stop. I want to play out that soundbite of Dr. Jaishankar.
Quad is about deepening our convergence and expanding our common ground. I value our consultations on different dimensions of the Indo-Pacific in that regard. A lot is happening in the world, and I'm sure that our exchange of views will be very valuable for all of us. A word about terrorism in the light of our recent experience. The world must display zero tolerance. Victims and perpetrators must never be equated. And India has every right to defend its people against terrorism, and we will exercise that right. We expect our Quad partners to understand and appreciate that.
All right, viewers. Now, well, let me just end by saying that Pakistan may be sitting in the UNSC chair, but it was left red-faced as Jaishankar slammed the global double standard as far as Pakistan being the fountainhead of global terrorism that continues to come from its soil. I'm going to now shift focus and talk about, well, Prime Minister Modi's very important five-nation tour, which is the longest he's undertaken in the last 10 years. He's embarked for Accra, and which is Ghana, where marking the first leg of his five-nation tour aimed at reinforcing India's global South partnership. So with a focus on strengthening bonds across the global South and both sides of the Atlantic, the tour includes visits to Ghana, then Trinidad and Tobago, followed by Argentina and Brazil, where he'll be there for the BRICS summit. And in the end, wrapping it up would be his visit to Namibia, nations that Prime Minister Modi described as vital partners in India's evolving foreign policy architecture, spanning historical ties, cultural linkages, economic engagement and multilateral cooperation. And that really is summing up as far as the importance of this trip and several aspects of it, which will be both diplomatic, economic and others. All right, an update coming in as far as the India-US trade deal is concerned. It's been in the pipeline for some time, but there's been a lot of progress. And in fact, Donald Trump has said that a major trade deal with India could be close, potentially slashing tariffs and opening doors for American companies. Speaking on board the Air Force One, Donald Trump said India may finally lower barriers for American businesses, a move that could help avoid the sharp 27% tariff hike that may come in from 9th of July. India's Foreign Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, now in the US, confirmed that talks are intense, but added both sides need to give and take. For now, all eyes are on India and the 9th of July deadline. Will the deal get done by then is the key question. Let's first listen in to what Donald Trump had to say as far as this deal, which many believe is pretty much now on the anvil.
We're going to have a deal with India, possibly. And that's going to be a different kind of a deal. It's going to be a deal where we're able to go in and compete. Right now, India doesn't accept anybody in. I think India is going to do that. And if they do that, we're going to have a deal for much less tariffs.
All right, viewers, on that note, a quick break on India Global. We return with the other story that has shocked many around the world, which is the attack on ISKCON temple in Utah. We'll come back with details of that.
Cricket updates brought to you by Remitly. Send money home safely with Remitly.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing. And that's exactly the way he'd want to be remembered.
At Co-op Funeral Care, we offer a choice of funerals including direct cremation. We're right by you when you need us. Search online, call us or visit your local funeral home.
It's great to be helping out before my first grandchild arrives. And after having a few repairs myself, I need to make sure they'll all be protected. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
Wow, that money could help with funeral costs or as a gift for my grandkid. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
He's going to be named after his granddad.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our UK team on 0800 470 4444 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Magic family moments deserve the perfect setting. A stylish awning from House is the ideal addition to your outdoor space. Available in a range of colours and finishes, and with the option of integrated lighting and heating, you can enjoy your outdoor space for even longer. Now that is magic. House awnings, made for life.
Dealing with my lot means making smart choices. And with our family growing, I want to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my husband pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
I'll go ahead.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Viewers, the ISKCON temple in Spanish Fork in Utah, renowned globally for hosting the annual Holy Festival, has come under attack in a suspected hate crime, with over 24 bullets fired at the premises over several days, causing significant structural damage. As per ISKCON, maybe 20, maybe 30 bullets were fired at the building premises and the surrounding property during nighttime hours when devotees and guests were there. Remember, that's the time when evening aartis take place. There must be a large number of devotees inside. This is when this incident took place, resulting in thousands of dollars of damage to the temple's intricately handcrafted arches, but at the same time putting at risk so many people who were inside the temple there. Now, the Consulate General of India in San Francisco has expressed solidarity with the community and urged significant and swift action to be taken. But the larger point here is that why is it that you have a Hindu place of worship being under attack there and no voices being raised as far as widespread condemnation is concerned? That's the big question that we are putting out here as far as India Global is concerned, to tell exactly how significant has the hate crime increased with regards to Hindus in America. All right, US President Donald Trump has announced that Israel has agreed to an updated proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza that would secure the release of several hostages. There are about 20 who are still alive, expected to be alive. He urged Hamas to accept the deal, warning on Truth Social, that is his social media platform, that it will not get better. It will only get worse, which means that this is the best deal on the table for Hamas to take. The final proposal will be delivered by Qatar and Egypt. The two parties and the two countries who've been the mediators between this, they've been trying to broker peace. It remains to be seen whether this deal would actually be picked up by Hamas or not. If it does, then Donald Trump can most certainly take credit for ending at least one of the wars that he thought he would end in 24 hours. More news coming in from the US. Roughly 2 weeks since the American strikes on Iranian key nuclear facilities, Tehran has officially suspended its cooperation with the IAEA, that's the UN nuclear watchdog, that is International Atomic Energy Agency. That's what the official announcement has come in from Iranian President Mohammad Pezeshkian. He's officially notified the cabinet of the enactment of the law suspending cooperation. Now, this comes after Iranian parliament approved the bill on Wednesday. Now, this means that the law will stipulates that any future inspection by International Atomic Energy Agency would need approval by the National Security Council. It essentially pretty much puts any possible conversation regarding Iranian nuclear program in the closed storage. Now, where will that leave talks between Iran and the US, brokered by several people in the Middle East, remains to be seen. It could potentially force Donald Trump to double down on his sanctions as far as Iran is concerned. He's been talking about putting the lid off, but this may be another reason for him to go more hawkish as far as Iran is concerned. US has halted some weapons shipments to Kiev as Russia's war against Ukraine has intensified. The decision was taken to put America's interests first, following a Department of Defense review of American military support and assistance to other countries. US has sent tens of billions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022, leading some in the Trump administration to voice concerns that US stockpiles are now too low. The Ukrainian government has not commented on the announcement, and US officials did not say which are those shipments that are being halted. Now, this means that America is preparing for its own military arsenal rather than providing anything more to Ukraine, probably setting the stage for some sort of a peace talk to be accepted by both sides. All right, turning attention now to what many feel as far as the latest drama between Trump and Musk is concerned. There's been a war of words on both sides, and you have President Trump saying that Doge is a monster that can only go back and bite Elon. Let me, in fact, viewers, tell you exactly the kind of war of words that's intensified between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. These are two of the most powerful men on earth, and they've been at each other for the last couple of weeks. And I've got some of those comments that have come in from both Donald Trump and Elon Musk to tell you just how ugly the fight is actually getting. Now, Doge is a monster that may go back and eat Elon. That is what Donald Trump has said, that, and hinting that when it comes to cost cutting, it may actually be Elon Musk's companies that may be at the receiving end of it, and said that Doge should review Musk's subsidies. Which are these subsidies? We're talking about billions of dollars of subsidies that go to his electric vehicle program that has largely been funded by the subsidies. And then says we'll have to take a look on deporting Musk as well. That's what Donald Trump's comments have been. Now, why is he talking about deporting Elon Musk? Well, there's been in the backdrop, in the past, there have been some comments about Elon Musk when he moved from South Africa to US. The visa status that he had moved on did not allow him to work. And that could be the backdrop of him making probably the biggest threat possible as far as Donald Trump and Elon Musk are concerned. Now, what has been the response that has come in? Well, he hasn't held back, Elon Musk. Look at what he's saying. Tax cut bill is a disgusting abomination. That's the first thing that he has said. Then he went on to say, we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Look at the, as I said, he's not holding back either, because he sees billions of dollars of his EV subsidies pretty much now being written off. And lastly, he said, so tempted to escalate, but will refrain for now. So he's willing to take this a notch higher. He's just stopping it right now. I don't know who's been able to advise him for some caution, but maybe it could be only for some time, because both men are known to, in fact, give it as good as it gets. One thing what I can say is that Elon Musk has pretty much written off the $300 million that he had given to President Trump, because that's what the commentary looks like. Is there an olive branch in the offing? Well, no one knows. But viewers, that's what it's looking like right now. That was the kind of face-off that I wanted to share with you, viewers, in terms of what all has been said between the two sides. Well, I want to now, as we wrap things up, tell you one thing, which is about Anil Menon. That's an important story, as India has been celebrating its space mission. And as we celebrate Shubhanshu Shukla, let's also now celebrate Anil Menon. NASA astronaut has been assigned his first mission to the International Space Station, serving as a flight engineer and expedition of a crew member. Menon will launch aboard the Roscosmos Soyuz MS-29 spacecraft in June 2026. During his expedition, Menon will conduct scientific investigations and tech demonstrations to help prepare humans for future space missions and benefit humanity. As I said, We celebrate Shubhanshu Shukla. It's time to also celebrate Anil Menon. All right. With that, viewers, we wrap things up on this edition of India Global. Thanks so very much for watching.
Google Pixel 9, proud partner of the England teams.
Shredded wheat is one ingredient, whole grain wheat. Simple. Rudy's an engineer. Not simple. We do a high fibre breakfast. Simple. Rudy invents this stuff. Yeah, not simple. We'll stick to the simple stuff. Shredded wheat. It simply does it.
This year marks the 85th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. To commemorate this historic occasion, a new 24-carat gold-plated 50p has been authorised for release. Featuring the iconic Spitfire in flight and officially licensed by the Royal Air Force, this coin can be yours for the introductory price of just $4.99 post-free. Approved by His Majesty the King, demand for this new coin is expected to be high, so call 0800 988 7440. Visit battlebritaincoin.tv or scan the QR code on screen today to secure this valuable keepsake for you and your family. Plated in 24-carat gold, your 50p is the first in the superb new collection that tells the story of the Battle of Britain, featuring iconic figures and moments from the historic summer of 1940. Don't delay. Visit battlebritaincoin.tv or scan the QR code on screen today.
This is so wild that I actually, from a dream, started a business. I don't think I could ever work for anyone else ever again.
I bought cars on finance, so I've made my claim.
My lenders charge hidden commissions. I've made my claim. I could be owed thousands.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
It's so quick and simple.
You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from vehicles bought on finance since 2007, even without the details.
I've made my claim.
Trust myclaimgroup.co.uk.
Claims made simple.
How long's it been then?
We met about 8 years back.
What?
Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Dalai Lama has announced succession plans, says a 600-year-old institution will continue. But China, they're saying the successor needs the approval of China, and this cannot happen, refuting claims being made by Dalai Lama as the sole authority. And Iran has hardened its stand against nuclear watchdog, the law that bars cooperation with the IAEA, action after US and Israel attacked nuclear facilities in Iran. Well, a very good afternoon. Let's get you the very latest. You're watching NDTV 24/7. We have a whole lot lined up for you, but particularly from Raj, this is in regard to the change of guard. You know, the questions that were being asked as far as Karnataka goes. But Siddhartha Maya today has put all those questions to rest, all those speculations to rest, because he's gone on to say on record that he is going to continue in the role of the Chief Minister's position as far as the state of Karnataka is concerned. He's gone on to say that he will serve the entire 5-year term. While DK Shivkumar, on the other hand, reacting to what Siddaramaiah has gone on to say on record, DK Shivkumar has gone on to say, what choice do I have? And basically the party is making this decision, and whatever the party wants is being fulfilled. So this, after those 2 days that we saw that face of unity, that, the two leaders holding hands, the two leaders feeding each other cake, and today, the third day of the visit of Randeep Surjewala there, who was there in Bengaluru in order to iron out differences, and, putting aside all kind of speculation, particularly of Iqbal Hussain there, saying that there are over 100 MLAs who are ready to support DK Shivkumar, and they all are demanding a change of guard. Something that the BJP chief in Karnataka, saying that horse trading has started within the party, and also has gone on to say that MLAs are already, in fact, most MLAs are ready to switch sides. That is the claim that is being made by the opposition, hitting out at the infighting that they are hinting at within the Congress party. The Congress there saying that there is nothing wrong and that they are united in their stand. But there, we heard DK Shivkumar there saying that what is it that he can do, and that there is no option that he really has.
Stand by him, I support him, and I don't have any objection to it. Whatever the party recommend tells, and whatever he decides, it will be fulfilled.
You mean say currently the party is not backing you, sir, right now, because your supporters said you have sacrificed so much for the party, you brought the party to power in the state,
I don't want to discuss anything. All
ruling MLAs within the ruling party are demanding the change in the chief ministership. They want Siddaramaiah to leave from the CM's post. DK Shivkumar's option. But the fact remains, horse trading has started within the ruling Congress party. That's the reason why B.R. Patil, Iqbal, Magadi MLA Balkrishna, including R.V. Deshpande, they're issuing statements against the Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. So I request Honorable Governor to look into this matter.
We have my colleagues Shivarur and Deepak joining us to know more on this. Shiv, over to you first. Siddaramaiah, they're saying that he's staying put, he's not going anywhere, while DK Shivkumar on the other side, one can read between the lines, because he's gone on to say what is it that he can really do. He has no option here.
The one thing that has completely been demolished is this idea that all is well within the Karnataka government. Any attempts to project a semblance of unity or bonhomie or bromance between DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah, which NDTV had always reported was not the case, lies completely shattered today, because you have this race for the Chief Minister's post completely out in the open. If there was no question of any change in leadership, if this was not an issue before the High Command, if this was not a contentious sort of split in the Karnataka Congress that needed to be dealt with by the Gandhis, where would the need be for the incumbent Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to say that he is going to be the CM for the next 5 years, and for DK Shivkumar, to wear that subdued look and say, what other option do I have? The truth of the matter is there is a reality and there is a power play going on. What NDTV has reported on is the reality of the political split that's happening. The DK Shivkumar camp, led by the Deputy Chief Minister himself, has sniffed an opportunity, to stake a claim for a power sharing formula to be honored. There have been reports that this was verbally promised to him at the time of the Congress party coming to power in a landslide victory in 2023. And as our colleague Deepak has reported from the ground, these whispers have escalated into a full-fledged sort of campaign to get Siddaramaiah off the Chief Minister's chair and to install DK Shivakumar. On Siddaramaiah's part, he is flexing muscle in a very big way by saying that there is no question of him moving and that he will be Chief Minister for the next 5 years. He is sending out word to the rank and file and to the High Command that he is not amenable even slightly to any kind of discussion, and they should note that. There are many caste calculations, the Ahinda factor in Karnataka, many other political wheels within wheels, that make Siddaramaiah a very, very strong figure in Karnataka beyond just being Chief Minister. And all of those will have to be under consideration now for the Gandhis. It's just become even more difficult.
Even though, claims are being made as far as, Congress leaders are concerned, saying that, it is DK Shivakumar who seems to be having the numbers. We heard Iqbal Hussain yesterday say that, over 100 MLAs are supporting DK Shivakumar and they really want that change to take place.
That's correct. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the numbers. We've seen MLAs ranging from junior MLAs to three-term MLAs like Mr. Iqbal from the Kalaburgi district talking about 100 MLAs wanting change, etc. Now, that is a big claim to make, and there is no empirical evidence at this point of time to suggest that. I have a feeling that within the Congress party, they would have a sense of where, the weight of that, of those MLAs actually lies. At this point of time, there is reason to believe that Siddaramaiah still is very strong. He still controls the MLAs. Remember, as the incumbent, he has the advantage across many factors of this power situation in Karnataka is concerned. The only question now to ask is whether the Gandhis, no matter where the MLAs stand, ultimately the High Command will have to decide whether this happens or not. That was a very candid comment that came out from the Congress President, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who also happens to be from Karnataka. But if they decide that a generational shift needs to be effected at this point of time, a younger leadership needs to happen. Whether it is true that not rocking the boat now will harm the Congress in 2028, all of these are factors and considerations that have been inputted to the High Command. Now it's up to them whether to take a decision or not.
Let's get in Deepak. And, Deepak, this really comes at a time when the opposition there really saying that horse trading has started, MLAs want to switch sides. But here we have, of course, like Shiv was mentioning, that Mallikarjun Kharge made it very clear that the decision lies with the High Command. And, of course, the High Command will decide who they really want in that chair. But, if you talk about popularity, is Siddaramaiah's popularity being impacted due to the controversy in the state per se?
Well, the decision definitely lies with the High Command. Now, well, there has been speculation that there was an unwritten sharing formula, but whether the High Command will actually want to honor that is the question. Now, there are two main aspects here to consider. One is the 2028 election. Everything is around that because right now they are comfortable, they're safe with over 130 MLAs, in the kitty. But the situation may not be the same, come 2028. They will need, of course, a united front. Factions backing Siddaramaiah, factions backing DK Shivakumar should fight together once again to, trump the BJP. But right now, the challenge that lies before the High Command is that Mr. Siddaramaiah continues to be a very popular leader. The MLAs rallying behind him. There are, of course, issues that he's facing. There are allegations of corruption. There are scams that are coming to the fore here and there. There was the stampede. There was a recent, MLAs voicing their concerns about corruption within the system. All of this has dented the image of the government slightly. It has given the opposition the opening that they've been looking for. But has it completely destroyed his image? Brought it to a level where the High Command will think of a change? Probably not. As far as Mr. DK Shivakumar is concerned, he has had his own ups and downs. Now, he's a person who brought the party to the position that it is today, brought in those organizational changes starting from the cadre level to the top, which has really transformed the Congress party and its aspirations in Karnataka. The question again here is, has his popularity transcended beyond Mr. Siddaramaiah? Probably not. And he too probably understands that, the High Command understands that. So to make a change right now, thinking about that unwritten promise that was made could really change everything, could, really disrupt the balance that there is right now. That is why they're contemplating so much. Will Mr. DK Shivakumar pull so many strings or build so much pressure that the High Command is forced to make this decision. That is anybody's guess in the months to come. But as of now, it seems like the signals have gone out very clearly to both of them that it is going to be status quo.
Right. Thank you so much, Deepak, for getting us. And stay with us for our next story as well. And this is again coming out of Karnataka and the government there that has now decided to move the High Court in Karnataka. And this is the move that is taking place after the tribunal had reinstated the IPS officer who was suspended after the Chinnaswamy stampede that claimed 11 lives. Now, this is a move that is being made by the government in order, basically a move right after the tribunal there asking for the IPS officer, the Additional Commissioner of Police, to be reinstated in the role that he held before his suspension. Deepak joining us with all the details. Deepak, take us through, this action that is being taken now by the government in order, basically, this really pertains to the action that was taken by the government.